And President Biden there blaming the unvaccinated for the disappointing economy. This comes as the White House continues to push federal vaccine mandates. Now, our next guest is from one of 24 states threatening to sue the Biden administration over the vaccine mandate. Joining us to discuss, West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrisey. Sir, thank you for joining us. What is it you hope to accomplish here?
Well, I think what President Biden is doing is unprecedented, and he's trying to use the power of his office to bully around the American people when he absolutely knows that they don't have the authority to issue these mandates. And we're seeing this across the board in a lot of things that Biden's doing. You look at the eviction moratorium, you look at what's going on the border. He's ignoring the law time after time to advance his goals. He's a bully, and he's trying to act like a dictator. That's not going to stand. You're going to have a lot of attorneys general in court very quickly taking him on. As soon as the ink is dry from the regulations that he's issuing, we'll be in court, we'll be litigating on it, and I think we have a good chance of prevailing.
How is COVID impacting the state of West Virginia?
Look, COVID has hit West Virginia hard the way it's hit a lot of different states. But I think that in West Virginia, people are trying to adapt to it, to take a number of different measures to protect those who are most vulnerable. That's why you saw a lot of the measures focused on the elderly, who the early statistics suggested were much more likely to contract the disease. They were more vulnerable in terms of their health states. So it's been tailored, but there's also a recognition, at least right now, that you don't want to shut down businesses. You don't want to mandate all of these activities, because that's not going to accomplish the goal. You don't get to herd immunity through herd mentality. That's a quote I've heard, and it's absolutely right, because the more you try to force people to do something and act like a dictator, the more people are going to rebel, and Biden has lost it. And I think it's important that he step back and recognize the Constitution. He's been around long enough to know that he should be more unifying, like he said he was going to be during the campaign.
So what do you think should be done either by the president or within the state of West Virginia?
Look, I think it's great to encourage and persuade. No, I thought that President Trump did a very good job when it was down to Operation Warp Speed. He really pushed that very effectively, and then everyone politicized it. I think people don't need this issue to be politicized. This is a matter of both public health, but it also involves our constitutional freedoms, and people have to respect both. And I think that if the rhetoric were a little bit less aggressive coming from the Biden administration, he'd find that a lot more people will take the time to learn more about this. The other thing I would encourage President Biden to do is get your CDC together. It's been a disaster. They've not been publishing the right data. It's not been transparent. That doesn't provide confidence to the American people. Folks would be more likely to take the vaccine if they had more access to data.
Yeah, in terms of the economy turning around across the country, how are things looking there in the state of West Virginia, and what do you need in order to make it better?
Well, I think things are remaining stable right now, but we have an opportunity to grow. I think one thing that people know as a result of COVID is that a lot of folks realize it'd be awfully nice to live in a rural place where you can actually do work from home or in a smaller community, as opposed to the rat race going on in some of the larger cities. So we're welcoming those people. And a lot of us in West Virginia are pushing for more connectivity, more broadband. I've actually been advocating that instead of doling out the COVID money like they're political biscuits, you actually use those for capital expenditures, invest wisely in the future, real infrastructure, as opposed to the stuff that goes for that these days in Washington.
All right. Attorney General of the great state of West Virginia, Patrick Morrisey, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate it.